Do when we've got or what is the name for that opposite, by the way? When you cancel out subtraction from adding and you and you cancel out adding with subtracting. What is that? That's got a name for it. It's a fancy word for opposite. Yes, sir? Operation. Ooh, operation, I agree with you. And what kind of, there's a big kid word. We might not necessarily remember it. The big kid word for opposite. Difference. I'm going to start spelling.
Oh, I know.
Inverse.
What? I know.
Inverse, right? So whatever, right? So that little that song Cha-Cha Slide where they're like reverse, reverse. Inverse is exactly the same thing. It's just another word for opposite or flipping. Okay? If you got addition, you're going to cancel it out with subtraction. If you got subtraction, you're going to cancel it out with addition. Now turn your attention to that paper you picked up here because now it's about to get real fun. And I do mean real fun. Because look at all these fractions. How many people's eyes just glazed over, the blood pressure went up? Because, man, we hate fractions, don't we? Okay, well, I'm going to show you how to use your graphing calculator to make things a little bit easy on you. And I'm going to do that by doing number 6 for you. So grab your graphing calculator. We're going to do number 6 together.
Are we filling out papers?
Yeah, so you're literally going to do it like on your paper. Yep. We're going to do number 6 together. Now, if it weren't for the fractions, this would look like a pretty standard problem. And this is where I sometimes I use a strategy that's called solving a simpler problem. Okay? What if because I freak out about fractions too, frankly. There's a reason you couldn't get me out of teaching the 7th grade fast enough. Can't stand them, right? Especially these big mixed numbers and all that. If this were just a plain old problem that said n plus 2 equals 5, what would you do? Or forget about the fractions for a minute. What if the problem were just n plus 4 equals 6? What would you do?
All you have to do is add 2.
Well, that's true, but
I will put a line through the little.
You would put a line through it?
And then it's when I will put minus 4 on the end.
Right, that's exactly what I would do. And then you would subtract 4 from both sides, right? Okay, so that's what I do when I'm faced with a problem that's kind of difficult like this. I literally go, oh, I'm going to pretend for a second those fractions aren't even there. And what would I do? And then it's really easy to see. Well, duh, I would just subtract 4. Well, this is exactly the same concept, except instead of doing 6 minus 4, we're going to do 6 1/4 minus 4 7/8, okay? You're still going to do a subtraction problem. It's just that kind of blocking this out makes it a little bit easier for you, right? Okay, so we know we're going to subtract 6 1/4 minus 4 7/8. So who wants to see how to get their calculator to do all that hard work for them? I know, right? All right, so we're going to do the problem 6 1/4, because obviously we got to do 6 1/4 first, because we're subtracting the 4 7/8. So here is what you do on a calculator. You've got to, so 1/4, 1 over 4. What operation is 1 over 4? It's division, exactly. Okay, so 6 1/4 is the first thing we're trying to type in there. So we're literally going to, first of all, we got to keep the mixed number together, because this mixed number literally means 6 plus 1/4. So you're going to open your parentheses. So open parentheses, and you're going to do 6 plus 1 divided by 4. And you're going to close your parentheses. So you just told your calculator to do the mixed number 6 plus 1/4. Now we need to subtract 4 7/8. So you guys just take a guess right now. I know we're going to do subtraction. Based on the example that I just gave you of how to put 6 1/4 in there, try to put 4 7/8 in your calculator. If you screw it up, nobody cares. But you try to punch it in there now. Based on the example I just gave you of how to put a mixed number in there, do what you think you should do. Who wants to tell me their good guess? What'd you do? What'd you do? Yes, ma'am.
I did upper parentheses 4 plus 7 divided by 8.
That is exactly what you should do. Open parentheses 4 plus 7 divided by 8. And don't forget to close them. Okay, because then your calculator will say, math error, and it won't do it. So now it's just done that subtraction for us. Dun, da, da, da. We hit enter, but crap salad. Because we don't have that answer down there in our matching. We don't. Does that mean I did it wrong?
No.
Nope. What does that mean? I could estimate it, but it just means that at the bottom of your sheet, it's giving it to you in a fraction, isn't it? Okay? So, now I'm going to show you how to use your calculator to turn something back into a fraction. Okay? Because sometimes the answer is going to require you to do a decimal. In algebra class, though, we have a tendency to actually like fractions. As much as I hate fractions, unfortunately, they're necessary because next unit, when we do slope, that might ring a bell from 8th grade. Slope requires a numerator and a denominator because you need a rise and a run. So unfortunately, we got to do a lot of fractions even though we don't necessarily like them. The good news is your calculator will turn this back into a fraction for you. So you just hit the math button. And look right there, that very first option says fraction. What do you think that first option is going to do? Take that decimal and turn it into a fraction. So you literally just have to hit enter and enter. 11 over 8. Do we now see 11 over 8 down there?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Do we? Do we? Answer 11 over 8 on our calculator, right? Do we see the answer 11 over 8?
Yes.
Are we sure?
No.
We see 11 and 1/8, right? I did this problem for a reason because I knew this is the one that would mess with you a little bit, okay? So that's why I wanted to make you aware of this one. As a decimal, didn't we already see that it's only like 1 point something? See, those people who make these math worksheets, same as Tess, I'm convinced that they really don't like children very much. They really try to mess with you guys. How mean is it of them to give you an answer that your calculator will tell you 11 over 8 and then give you this answer 11 and 1/8 because they think, oh, well, that's the wrong answer that you're going to pick. Okay, but if the decimal was only 1 point something, then it can't be 11 as a whole number, right? Because it's only going to be 1 something. See what I'm saying? Okay. So it is going to, well, so it's going to be, it's actually going to be 1. Well, it's either going to be that one or that one, right? Because they're the only two that have a 1. Why do you think it's 3/8, sir? Because you're right. You're right, it is 3/8. Oh, because you knew that 11 divided by 8 goes in there once. And then you got 3 left over, 3 over 8. Good. Somebody remembers how to turn an improper fraction into a mixed number. Good job, sir. The other reason you might have known is that 3/4, 3/4 is what? 75 cents. So that's not the right decimal either. Okay, so for some of these, it's a little tricky, guys. You got to make sure you don't let it trip you up. Another thing you could have done is that you could have just used your calculator. You could actually just put in your calculator 3 divided by 8 to see if that actually gives you the right decimal. See how it gives me the decimal 0.375 that I got up there a minute ago? There's a few different ways you can check yourself, especially when it's matching. So I wanted to do that one on purpose just to make sure you guys realize, be careful. Okay? Then that is as hard as it's going to get.